Hey, Anthony, how are you?
I'm okay, Viola. How are you?
I'm all right.
Yeah.
A little down with malaria, though.
Yes, please.
I'm just saying I'm a little down with malaria, but getting better.
Come again.
I was saying I'm not fine, huh?
Sorry about that.
Yeah, but getting better.
But you're going to be on?
Yeah, I'll be on, but you're going to moderate. People have to know you. Because doctor will continue to ask, who are the class coordinators? Who is the class? You see the way he keeps asking. Because if I'm not there in time and then one of us, you have to come in. If you're not there, I have to come in. But for today, I think
Yeah.
you'll moderate.
So what are the rules?
It's like now we're going to start with a recap. You should look at
Yes.
your notes and take lead. So we're going to
Mm,
start with a recap of what we learned last semester, and then you keep interjecting or supplementing.
okay.
Yeah, but you can pick on students or give them room. You moderate. And then
Okay.
after, when you feel like they've exhausted, then now you can invite doctors to take over now for the next lecture.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. What is disturbing? Ebola?
I rebuke Ebola in Jesus' name.
Amen.
I rebuke
Amen.
it. Eh, and Ebola is already in Kampala.
Of course. Sure.
Hmm.
Oh. So you stay in Kampala as well?
Yeah, I'm within Kampala, but I'm on my toes. I'm like, if the situation gets worse, it's best to go up country.
Teso.
Yeah.
Mm.
Up country is normally less, Kampala is so congested.
Mm.
Even if you go to the market, you're just everything is worrying unless you walk. You only feel safe
Yeah.
by walking.
The woods are safer.
The what?
The woods are safer. The village is safer.
Yeah, the
Mm.
village is safer.
I also go to Mbale.
I can tell from your accent a bit, but also from the name, the surname.
Yeah, our mother tongue is strong.
Yeah, I think the same for me. Although sometimes people confuse where I come from exactly, but the accent I think is strong.
Mm.
Alfred, how are you? John, how are you?
Fine, how are you, Viola?
We are fine. You got us jazzing a little bit as we are waiting for people.
How are you?
We
Hello?
are fine. So today Anthony will be moderating. So Anthony, people are beginning to join. Back to you. I'm handing it back to you as we wait for people to join.
Yeah, I think we start by 7.
Yeah, once the quorum is established a little bit, then you can
What's the quorum?
some reasonable number. Because normally we're about 30 something in this class, around 38. I think I've seen 38 as the highest, 38, 39.
Mm.
So maybe we are about 15, 20.
Mm. I'm
Yeah,
joining
but
you
also
from.
once doctor
Hello?
joins immediately, we just start.
I'm
Okay.
joining you from Kampala.
John, are you speaking to us?
I'm speaking to you, yeah, of course. I'm saying I'm now in Kampala. bus park. I'm traveling to Juba. I'll make sure
Ah,
to, if I get some time in the bus, I can attend. But if I don't get, I don't know. We will continue with it in my absence.
that's fine. It's all right.
Yeah.
John, you can
Oh,
bring my ID from Bogologi.
I got mine in the morning too.
Will you be able to get mine tomorrow?
Why should I'm traveling tonight.
he's
Okay.
already in the
Oh,
bus.
oh,
I've
you'll be coming
already
this night.
already taken the ticket.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
But Alfred, do they
appreciate it.
allow someone to pick for you your ID when it's not you yourself?
I don't know.
Because
There
it's
is no
supposed to be you
provision.
to pick the ID.
It
I don't
needs
know.
personal the person to pick it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went in the morning at around 10 and collected mine.
Good evening, members. You're welcome. Sorry about that. You're welcome. I request that we keep on. I think I will give it more 5 minutes as we wait for our colleagues before we start. The moderator of the day, as ordered nicely by my boss, MS Alumo Viola. So let's give it more now 4 minutes as we wait for our colleagues. Then we will start our deliberations as we wait for the doctor to come. Thank you.
Point of correction, I'm not a boss, we are colleagues.
Protocol matters.
Anthony, I think we can start with a recap as the rest join.
Okay, am I audible? Anyone is a thumbs up if I'm audible, please.
You are.
Okay. We are in unit 2, and I will take you through. You can interject at any time you feel you want to interject, but of course, I will allow anyone to speak if you have anything to say. But we are in unit 2, of course, about consultants, and we began with a quote from Matt Bowman that says, try to take ownership of an organization's problems and use research and logic to develop possible options for the way forward. Of course, now that's taking on the roles of the consultant. Of course, it is all about giving solutions that companies have, and it is all about, of course, consulting, or helping an organization. Of course, if that is giving them, you act like you're the campus, giving them the way forward to go, and perhaps without knowing that out where A is, where B, of course, as a consultant, you have to benchmark and have the appetite for the journey of your role in it. In other words, the organization progress depends on you as a consultant. Of course, there are pertinent questions, of course, what, of course, feasibility, what to change, implement, why, of course, additional capacity, third-party objectivity. Of course, you should have an objective, what you want to achieve. Of course, process skills to access specific information. And in general, business management consultants, you define the nature, of course, of the project gathering, and then which include, of course, you analyze, you present them for recommendation to the client, and if they accept it, of course, you have to get a buy-in before anything goes on. So you have to be professional enough. Of course, you have to be a manager. You have to be an expert. You have a service. You have to collaborate between certain, of course. In this, in my knowledge, interpersonal skills are very important. Of course, as an expert role, the class describe the behaviors as exhibited by the client and the consultant. Of course, he as an expert, the client has to be inactive. Of course, you as an expert, a technical person, you have to determine the needs and make the decisions, plans, and implement what is supposed to change. The service role, of course, describes behavior as exhibited by the client, and here the client determines the needs. Of course, gather data, you plan and then implement. Here, as a consultant, you are in passive mode. Then the collaborative role, of course, in the class is you describe what are the behaviors exhibited.
Sorry, hello colleague. Hello colleague.
Yes.
I think we shall have nothing to contribute if you are taking everything.
No, I'm giving a highlight, then I'll call you in, and I'm the moderator, please. So the stabilizer, the cheerleader, the persuader, those are all the consulting styles of you as a consultant. So you select the selection of a management. Of course, it's important. You have to select a team on basis of the skills and competences. And the doctor clarified very well that you can have the skills and you're not competent enough. So when you're selecting on this basis, you have to be very careful. So we had the qualities of a consultant, ability to understand, then communicate, intellectual, emotional. So, and we had ethics and integrity, which was the last part. So with that, Mr. Peter, since you can go for it, since you are, sorry, I will begin with the Lada Dominic. Please, you can come in.
Yeah, thank you very, very much, moderator and colleagues. Good evening. Yeah, well, I'm going to start with what you've gone through. Basically, this is Unit 2. Under Unit 2, we talked about the roles of the consultant and the client. We talk about this based on their behaviors. These behaviors exhibited by the client and the consultant, of course. So we talked about expert role. We said in this expert role, client is actually inactive. Is inactive participant, while the consultant, of course, determines the needs, gathers data, makes decisions, plans, and of course, implements changes. So in this case, the consultant does everything. It is believed that the consultant has everything it takes to determine and of course implement whatever the client is expecting from the consultant. So in this case, the client is inactive. It's only that their terms of reference works. So the responsibility is solely on the consultant to do everything, even if it means implementing the changes. It is him who does it. So in this case, implementation, of course, will depend on data gathered. So meaning the client will not have any option whatsoever. Every decision will be based on the data collected, data analysis. So it will not be based on guesswork. So that is expert role, because the consultant is an expert, so he knows it all. So we also have what we call service role. In this service role, in this case, the client determines needs, gathers data, makes decisions, plans, and implements changes. And consultant becomes inactive participant. So it is just like you have a project as a client. Let's say you are constructing a house. You have your design. Then you hand over this design to your consultant to do everything. But then he does every work based on your instruction. The standard depends on you. Whatever changes that may come on the way will be determined by you as a client. Now, if you say you don't want the house to have a veranda, then you say, no, I don't want veranda, you remove it. So the consultant will not have any say because it is you who determines every information, every needs, every decision. So the consultant will do as you say or as per your instruction. Then we have what we call collaborative role. So in collaborative role, both the client and consultant actively participate to determine, of course, the needs, also gather data, make decisions, plans, and implement changes together. So meaning when you're doing construction, yes, the client will come up with an option. Then the consultant, being an expert, will advise you when necessary. So meaning you both participate actively in ensuring the success of the work. So basically, these are the roles being played by the consultant and the client. So I submit, let me give the chance to other people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, brother, and you have given such wonderful insights. And so let me bring in Emmanuel Lobojo. Please, you can unmute and.
Thank you. Thank you, the class coordinator, and good evenings to the class. We learned a lot in regards to consultants last week. As my colleague has elaborated, it's actually very important to coordinate with the client because it gives you the directives. Sometimes, yes, you may be having the skills and expertise within the area, but of course, his guidance will save you on how you can be able to move forward in suiting the interests of the client. And then that does not mean you will also be able to advise the clients on regards to his options, so that the outcome will be all that tangible and it will be memorable to what you have delivered. And I think that will also give you reputations as life goes on. Last week we were also able to see um, uh, the selections of the consultants. That consultant is based on skills and the competencies, and then also is based on availability of the consultant to deliver, because the consultant has to be in position to deliver. It may not be very fast, so that it may not obstruct delivery. And then also depends on the support that will be given to the consultant that will be relevant to execute the consultant's work. And then we also look into like some of the relevant experience that the consultant has when my TB has delivered some of the consultants within the same area of specializations. That also gives right options so that there will be confidence in selecting the consultants. These are a few that I can remember. I submit. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think I'll highlight on the availability, because if you're not available, the client will have to get options, because you in other words, you have to be accessible for a client not to have the other option, one or two, and the other subsequent options. So as a consultant, you should also be available. That's very important. So Peter, you can unmute and carry on. Okay, thank you, moderator, and good evening to the attendees and colleagues who have already contributed. I want to give a reflection on the consulting styles. There was one time I went to a hospital, and then on the wall, I saw a statement written that do not compare my degree with your internet search. So that struck me. I didn't know what it meant, but I think I can explain according to my own understanding. There are people who ignore expert advice. They think they want to save money. Me, I practice in construction, so I'm going to be giving examples in relation to construction. We have people that we call fundis, or we call them Martians. These are people who have not gained any technical skills formally, okay? They are practicing on site. And because some of the clients want to save money, they will go for them. And when the product doesn't come out the way they want, it is now that moment that they come to their realization that they should look for someone who is a specialist. And then they now look for the actual engineer, okay? And I'm trying to explain the first consulting style, which is a stabilizer. So after the client is very confused, has spent a lot of money already, the design has not come out well, he now goes to get a consultant. And what does this guy come and do, the consultant? He comes to stabilize the situation, okay? Until now, that point, the client relaxes and say, okay, yes, there's no value for money, okay? The second style is cheerleader. A consultant comes in to uplift. The person is already doing well, okay? But of course, the expertise of a consultant always are required at some level, okay? So it comes to boost, it comes to reinforce what is already being done. In relations to construction, we have what we call civil works, we have what we call mechanical works, electrical works, okay? So at some stage, we require the service of each of these people, this specialist. But the consultant has an idea of all of these things that are needed to be done. The third style is analyzing or analysis or analyzer. He uses his own critique, okay, to give more understanding of what services are required from the point of his expertise. Let's say someone is considering to open up a business and is trying to import goods from China. Let's say phones, particularly iPhone. Okay. iPhones, if you may correct me, I don't know, they're made in US or India. I don't know, but one of these countries. And then they're assembled in China. But there are two different versions normally. The ones that they export to Africa, and then the ones that they sell within these well-developed countries. So if you're not an expert in that line of business, you will import phones that are meant to function in developed countries, and no one will come and buy them. I have had some friends who sent phones from US to their relatives in Africa, and they never worked. Those phones never worked.
there is a way they're made to only work in the US or in those developed countries. So an expert will advise you according to the knowledge that they have, and they'll guide you so that you don't spend your money recklessly. And then we have the persuading consulting style, where the expert advises the client to take the correct route. There may be two options, okay? Of course, as we know always, we want to go with the option that is less costly. But because the expert knows you will spend that huge amount of money, but the product that you will get is long lasting. Okay, so it's going to persuade you to go for the option that will cost highly but will give you value in the long run. Then we have what we call pathfinders consulting style. So where you totally have no idea of anything, okay? You normally go around consulting, and the people you ask are your consultants. Okay. What example? Okay, you want to buy land. I think now there are a lot of things. Let me say, if you want to acquire land, for example, in Uganda or even here in South Sudan, that documents that you need to know before you even try to think about buying a land. What genuine documents a land should have before you even engage in buying the land. Okay, so you have to find consultants, you have to find people who deal with such things, the people who sell land, or they act as middlemen, the people work like middlemen. So they know what kind of documents are required. So they will advise you, and depending on the advice, until you secure your product or until you secure your land, is when now you pay them. Okay. So Koik, thank you for listening. That is my reflection.
Thank you, Brother Peter. Point noted. Don't compare my degree with a Google search or AI. Otherwise, why would we be here? Why would we be in class? And we have got certain people who get issues from such issues. For example, these people that do self-medication find that they apply certain drugs because they searched where there is no doctor, they apply those drugs, and surely they get issues. And of course, as you have highlighted, the stabilizer, of course, you find chaos. The cheerleader, you are finding something, you're adding something. Then I will highlight on the analyzer. For example, some practical examples. So those doing GIS, Geographical Information System, we were supplying GPS systems for tracking systems for vehicles, motorcycles, real-time tracking systems. And we got issues with the SIM cards that wherever the local telecoms, the local telecom SIM cards, whenever they could cross like to Congo, of course, you lose the tracking. So we had to find a way to analyze and know how do we overcome that issue. Because as long as the SIM card was MTN Uganda, as you cross to South Sudan, you lose the tracking. So what we did, we found out that there were some Chinese SIM cards that would be used wherever you are. So we had to acquire those Chinese SIM cards that whenever we could be installing, the ones would put in the tracking device, and we had to overcome that issue and to solve. So it was some sort of analyzer consultant finding out, critiquing, as Brother Peter said, and we had to solve the issue. Any other person? I can see Rebecca. Anything to add on or compliment, correct where necessary?
Musamali, good evening.
Yes, Brother Emmanuel, let us give chance to Komakech before you come in again. Yes, Komakech, go on.
He did not
I
raise
was
up his
about to
hand.
ask, I have just logged in, and it's good to also to ask before you comment. You are asking for our opinion. Which aspect?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
So, Emmanuel, you can come in.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I just would like to know from you, colleagues, about consultancy. Because there are people who have not gone to school, but still they have that skills in doing the consultancy. Like, do we have labels in the consultancy? Thank you.
Of course, let me try to answer you, but of course, expertise is got over time, experience. See, because most of the times, education is what you go through, what you know, regardless of whether you university degree. For example, I can give you someone who works from Wachiseka. I think in automotives, even if you you're just graduated from Chambogo or somewhere, and you compare with that person, because even you, before the paper, after the paper, you need to acquire some experience before you are labeled a consultant over time. So I think that person can be, to me, he can be a consultant to some extent because he has acquired the skills and has the competencies to offer knowledge and solve some problems. To me, I don't know what other colleagues say. Yes, Brother Samuel, you can come in.
Well, thank you so much, my colleague, for the questions that you have asked. If I'm to rephrase it, you're saying that consultancy involves or require levels. Yes, it is very true. It requires level. Like Peter said earlier, I will also add on my voice. For a genuine and well-component consultant, and so that someone can also be satisfactory with their work. At one point, the levels matters. That's why sometimes you hear someone is called junior consultant, someone is called associate consultant, senior consultant, all those are the levels which are involved. And this also comes with the scope of work someone does. When you see the expertise of someone can tell, is this person a senior consultant? Someone who says, I am a political philosopher, is a consultant in that line. It's going to bring a lot of many things. He analyzes because he has expertise, he has experience. There are some responsibility the person has also been playing in that. And then the area or the scope of work the person always does. That can also comes with the levels that someone is having as a consultant. So if assuming the government is looking for someone to hire as a consultant in the political arena, definitely is going to look for these other big shots who has got the experience, have got maybe is a senior in consultancy work to the point of a partnership level or a principal consultant. That's what the kind of a person is going to recruit to do the role or the work of the government in that line. So, my brother, levels matters a lot when you're having consultancy expectations. Read books, have experience, and then widen your scope of works, widen your networks. All those are the compositions for your accurate delivery as a consultant. Thank you.
Thank you. I think the answer has been satisfactory to the one that he asked. Before I welcome the doctor, the good doctor, I think let us have Rachel. Rachel, the lady has not spoken yet, so gender balance. Rachel, unmute and then come in.
Thank you, moderator. I'm not going to differ so much from the brother that had just spoken, but just to answer the question that he has just answered, just to add on, is that both work when it comes to experience and books. But in some areas, what matters is the knowledge, the experience, the problem-solving abilities, the communication skills, and the trust you have from people. Let me give an example to the brokers within the city. I don't think those ones need what? Need the books we need. We can also look at a businessman in Owino. That one may teach others how to source and sell products in a profitable way because that is where they are experienced in. You may find a mechanic that has not had the degrees and what have you, but they have been in that role for a long time. What do they have? They have the experience. They have the experience in maybe vehicle maintenance. But there are some fields that require the formal qualifications that we are talking about. Let me give an example of medicine. You find that there's a doctor that is dealing in the gyners. Those are specialists. We have the dentists. Those are doctors but are dealing in issues with the teeth. Then we also have maybe engineers like you, who says you're dealing in construction. Then we have the certified accountants. So there are fields like business, farming. Though business at some point will also need the consultants that have those papers, but we have people that have been in for a long time. So experience also counts at some point. So I didn't want to differ a lot from Brother Samuel. So people listen to consultants mostly because they provide the useful solutions. Not only because of certificates or formal education, but the experience really, really, really counts a lot. Thank you.
Welcome, Rachel. Thank you very much for the highlights. I think I will welcome Dr. Tukey. He will be either the one to allow Joseph to speak or we continue. Thank you, Doctor. You're welcome. Doctor, are you there? Rachel, your hand is still up?
May I come in since Doctor?
Yes, please do.
Okay. So, sorry about that. Somebody who was calling. I have to clear the call. Yeah, thank you so much. It's my first time to be in this class, and I'm very happy to be here. And I've been keenly following, and this is very good, very impressive indeed. Good discussion. Just wanted to contribute. Of course, I completely agree with the previous speakers, Samuel, Rachel, and others, in terms of whether people who don't have the so-called papers can be consultants. And yes, they can be actually very good consultants. And of course, many people have spoken about, there are those areas which are very sensitive, like medicine, legal services, like IT advisory. But in IT, we are also seeing so many young people teaching themselves and then becoming very good consultants. But the key things I want to add in there, one is a deep knowledge of the subject. There are people who have for so many years practiced their trade, like mechanics. Those who have been in it for over 20 years without formal education can actually be very good mechanics. They can diagnose issues, and they can even just listen to the car and hear how the engine rattles, and they can be able to tell you that A, B, and C is the issue. But also, I wanted to bring in an aspect of proven results. That even if you don't have a formal qualification, but you have got proven results. And this, of course, comes after a period of practicing and a period of where your peers say this person really knows what they are doing. And the other aspects of being able to explain solutions very clearly. But of course, it's important that they keep learning. I've used the example of mechanics. Now we are seeing increasingly, for example, vehicles transitioning from internal combustion engines. Now most of the cars on the streets, the new ones, either hybrids or electrics. So there's that aspect of, you need to continue learning and exposing yourself, but also innovating. I thank you and submit.
Thank you, Joseph. Thank you. Yes. Doctor, if you are there, you can come in.
Thank you so much, class. I was still enjoying the discussion, and I think it's really a timely discussion. I don't know where you started from, but I think I've gotten a response from somebody who has just joined us today. I hope the person has not really missed a lot, because we moved to many units now. I think we have moved to the third or fourth unit. Sorry for joining in late. I was in another meeting, a critical meeting, and I came rushing and I failed to log in time. My gadgets had no power, so I'm using a phone. I had to ask the class president to send me the link so that I could join this class. So that said, I don't know what the discussion was really about, but I don't think whether I agree that the person who has not had a formal education is a consultant. You can call him differently maybe, and give him another title, not a consultant. I think we started from defining who a consultant is, and what consultancy is, and what consultancy development skills is all about. So if you have not gone to or sat in this kind of class, how do you now claim to be a consultant? That's the question I'm now pushing to you. How do you claim to be a consultant? If consultancy means you have to develop a skill, and a skill can only be gotten through formal education. A skill can only be gotten when you're in class. A skill can only be gotten when you have mastered the art of what you were taught, from theoretical and then practical. You know, it's different for us to train our children. I'm a dentist, and I'm right now sitting in a dental surgery, that I begin teaching my son how to extract teeth, then he begins extracting teeth well, then I will call him a dentist. No, I don't think so. First of all, even attending formal education is not enough, because you can only be called a consultant after mastering. Meaning, if you have just an undergraduate kind of qualification, those are basic qualifications, it does not make you a consultant. That's why even the names of these persons, take for instance, if I took you to the medical fraternity, for you to be called a consultant, you should have changed your title. Even the grading of your salary changes. But that said, a medical doctor who becomes, say, a gynecologist, a pediatrician, I wonder whether we have them here, any other specialty, changes his title from doctor to Mr. That is capital M and the capital R, Mr. When I was in Fort Portal, that was in 1990, there used to be a doctor called Mr. Mukwenda, and I was wondering, he told my wife is a clinician, and I would always ask my wife, that guy, why is he called a Mr.? Because I needed to know. He was called Mr. Mukwenda. He was a senior gynecologist who was very much respected within the Western region, but he died. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Now, that said, because I don't want us to continue deceiving ourselves, and from here you are going to call yourself consultant. There is a student, I will mention 2 of them, who I actually trained. I even didn't know he was a quack. He got 3 degrees, master's degrees, under my mentorship and guidance, support, and he actually got the skills. So this guy in Zambia was known to be a consultant. Why? Because the guy really had a master's degrees, 3 of them. We could actually co-author articles together. And the US knew the guy as a serious consultant. But later on, it was found that the guy did not even have a first degree. There are guys who are known to be very brilliant, who can actually be better than consultants who have gone to school. That one I don't deny. But it does not make you a consultant, mostly if you do not have proper academic qualifications. That's the reason why we're here. And that's the reason why we're having this module, consultancy skills development. Meaning you underline the word skills, put it under red, underline it bold, and understand that a consultant can only have specific skills. And I think that's the last part we have. You must have the right attitude. You must have the knowledge. And you must have the competence. And what we ought to understand here mostly is that it is also one thing for somebody to have knowledge and skill, but it's another for that person to be competent enough. That's why somebody will sometimes doubt, say, that guy, can you imagine that guy you see there on a tie, very smart, he's called Dr. TK, but no, even when that guy comes to class and begins presenting, nobody even listens to him. We wonder where he got his PhD from. I don't know whether you have heard about those kind of comments from wherever. I'm just giving you an example. So ideally, at the end of the day, they will shoot you down just because you do not have the capacity to deliver. So I don't want to agree with you, but I would also say that, yes, there can be some individuals who are too good, to the extent that you can actually call them as such. But consultancy means and includes having knowledge, skills, attitude, and the right competence. Without that, you will never call yourself one. I've told you about one student I taught. I'm also going ahead to give you another student who graduated last year. This student even was a class president like Biola is. He got all the notes. After getting the notes, he goes and opens his company as an M&E consultant. At one point in time, they called us and asked us whether we knew the student. Said yes, that guy actually did a PGD, he did not even graduate, but if he's calling himself a consultant, treat him as a quack. Why am I saying this? For you to be a consultant, you must have at least a master's degree. let's agree on this. You must have at least a master's degree. Me delivering a woman when I'm a medical doctor who did medicine and surgery does not make me a consultant. Even the payment is quite completely different, because the consultancy begins from masters, and somebody that's now in medical, and you go to a senior consultant, you go to a principal, and so on and so forth. So consultancy, I agree, it comes with experience. It is one thing actually for you also to have the knowledge and the skill when you do not have a competence. Competency goes with the experience. For how long has he served? For how long has that guy handled the clients? What makes him really call himself a senior consultant? What makes this person to be called a principal consultant? That kind of thing. I came rushing because I was in another class where I was coordinating. You know, I coordinate CME. CME is Continuous Medical Education in Uganda Police Services. Our colleague was just come. I'm a policeman, senior police officer, but I'm also in charge of research, innovation, and policy unit. And before I was appointed to that level, some voices up started saying, no, this guy should not be made just an HR. This guy should be made this based on his experience he has had. This guy has had a lot of clinical work. Why don't you move him to administration? When I was moved to HR, they said, no, this guy is too good to be here. Take him somewhere else. Let this guy begin researching. After all, he's in the university, that kind of thing. So what are we saying? If you are a consultant also having masters and PhD, you should be practicing in order for you to get that experience, so that your touch should be seen. Actually, even at some point in time, you may not be able to touch anything, you just speak. I'm currently handling some work, private work, you know, a construction, and sometimes I tell some of my site engineers, they come from Teso, right now they're in Uganda, and I keep asking them, why do you guys just sit around? Because you think you're a site engineer, you cannot touch a brick. You only talk, and even sometimes you go to your room and begin talking, and maybe discussing with other people. I think I don't like this. Then I begin telling them, even when I'm in a surgery, when I see there is something wrong, I must jump in. I must always be in the gloves. I must have my mask, and maybe try to show these people what to be done. But you don't tell me you are completely out of the sight. Then when you come and find, you know, a wall is bending, then you begin telling people to break. I think this is wrong. So to me, what I'm trying to say, I don't agree that if somebody is trained on job, becomes a consultant. No, that is not true. He has the experience, yes, but he cannot become a consultant. I've seen guys jumping around in our cars. Sometimes, by the way, I chase them away. But the ones we chase away, these panel guys, they are the ones who are good. Somebody tells you, no, you know me, I'm a wiring man, let me come, but meanwhile, let me send the boy. When the guy comes, he knows nothing. This boy, because of the experience he has had, is able to do some work, but doesn't make him a consultant. Colleagues, are we agreeing on this?
Yes, doctor.
Yeah, because if
Doctor,
somebody
you're
has
very right.
another, please let me know what your argument is all about. Because let's not misuse the word a consultant. Having experience does not make you a consultant, no. This guy was telling you about was thrown in prison because he's a quack. He can't be a consultant. But when Zambia was consulted, they said, no, that guy is good. He was the one teaching his colleagues. What are you talking about? But this guy was dropping, he had dropped out from S3. The police went to investigate, finding out whether this guy had even gone, you know, even in S3 had used another person's papers. S2 he had used another person's papers. Meaning the guy was dropping, he had dropped out of school from P7. He doesn't even have a PLE certificate. But this guy was good. I took ladies who was operating them very well. There is a lady who had been operated twice by senior gynecologists. I will not tell you the hospital. But they made this lady go through a lot of pain. You know, the area rotting, and you keep cutting, and they kept on cutting this lady more times. I think about 7, 8 times. But this quack handled this lady. By the time when the lady left the surgery, he said, this guy is really an expert. Baganda called them what? Omukugu, something like that. So a mukugu does not mean that it is just your experience. No. It is the expertise based on the competency, the knowledge, and the skills you attained from school. Meaning, consultants goes with the professional courses that you have done. Without that, you are not called one, but you can be an experienced person. My mother, she's about 85 years old now, knows how to deliver ladies. Actually, she's better than many midwives. But this lady never went to school. Let me tell you this. She has never even been to P1, but very much experience. She delivers women, and she will tell you this one, lie this way, lie this way. And whenever she fails, she realizes that the child is not lying well, requires an operation. Will tell you, excuse me, this one I cannot manage. Take her to the hospital. But my mother has never gone to school. You will not call her gynecology. She's not a consultant. Because those consultants have professional attachment to them. This lady did not even undergo a training. They call them what? Is it village what?
Traditional birth attendants.
TBS.
They are called what?
Traditional birth attendant.
Traditional birth attendant. That's the title of my mother. But she's not even a traditional birth attendant because she has not been trained. But this she has no certificate. Based on the experience she has, she beats many midwives. Even sometimes gynecologists would say, but who delivered you? Then they say, there's some woman there. That where? Then they begin describing my home. So, there is a dentist there, that policeman. But yes. Oh, the other place, that yes. Oh, we know that lady. The son actually works with the police. So that kind of thing. And sometimes, whenever she realizes she has a lot of issues, her brother, who happens to be my uncle, is the DHO of Bukedia Health Center 4. Say, my son, can you call your uncle? There is a problem here. Then I called the DHO and said, please, I think my mother has gambled around. Pick this lady and take her to the main hospital. And she will be honest, say, no, this one I cannot deliver. Then I called an ambulance and the lady is taken. And I told her, Toto, but can you really deliver these ladies? Why do you want to bring me problems? Say, my son, I'm experienced, I know. So what I cannot do, I cannot. And these ladies come here because they are desperate. They cannot go to school. I mean, to the hospitals. But what I could do, each time I go home, I go with the, what are they called? This baby, what are they called? Mama kits. Then I tell my mother, get the list of the mothers around. I think we have this. You can give them to them. There are some communities where people are completely very poor. They cannot even afford a mama kit. Anyhow, I hope we have settled that. Don't call people consultants when they have not gone to school. No. Those are not consultants. They have experience having been trained on the job. Period. They can never be called consultants. You, who is seated here, who paid your tuition to be taught or to gain knowledge, you will be a consultant. Thank you. I'm using a phone. I may not be able to share the slides. Madam President, help me share the slides. I know you people have them. I can make whoever is ready. I don't know who can make you a co-host. Is that okay? Who is ready with the slides there? Just help me. I'm using a phone.
Yes, Doctor, I'm ready. I can do that. This is
okay,
Wilfred.
That is the okay.
Wilfred.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Atetre. Okay. Okay, I've made you a co-host. Just help me share the slides. I'll explain.
Okay,
Which unit are we on today?
Unit 3.
Unit 3. Okay, go for it. Okay, go for
We are
it.
supposed to do consultancy process, the consultancy process today.
Okay, let's start from there.
So guys, are you able to see the screen?
Yeah, but
Yes,
you made
please.
in presentation mode.
Make it a slide
enlarge it.
presentation mode.
Okay.
Put it on a presentation mode.
Okay.
Let's go to unit 3. The colleague who joined today, you'll be looking at unit 1. You'll get to know who a consultant is, what consultancy skills is, and what consultancy is all about. It describes whatever we've been discussing here.
Here we go, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor. I will look at it. I have been able to download the notes.
Presentation mode. Near 60.
It's near 60.
Yes.
I don't.
Is that okay?
Great, great.
It's okay now.
Thank you. So, Doctor, you can go for it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, colleagues, today we are looking at unit number 3. I believe the colleagues who have not been with us can follow this discussion. We have recordings on the platform. You go retrieve and listen good. If you're only going to look at the slides, you are going to have issues because the slides are well summarized and you may not be able to get anything from the slides per se. Therefore, you ought to listen maybe to the presentation because there are a lot of examples that you will get to understand. Otherwise, colleagues, having looked at unit 1 and unit 2, today we are going to look at unit number 3, and we're talking about the consultancy process. And colleagues, the consultancy process refers to the systematic steps which are followed by consultant, and this consultant follows them when he's helping an individual, an organization, an institution, or even a community to identify problems. After identification of problems, analyzing them. After analyzing them, then ensuring that it designs solutions, then implements interventions, and then evaluates results. Colleagues, when you look at this process alone, it will show you that you cannot be able to go into this when you have not been educated. So it is normally a professional problem-solving process. I'll repeat that. A consultancy process is a professional problem-solving process that requires technical expertise. Colleagues, let's underline the word technical. Technical expertise cannot be gotten from the street. No. From the experience. No. Technical means you must go to school, be taught, and be able to pass. Then they will say, that guy has got a technical skill. Then ethical conduct. Ethical conduct. My colleague here, who became a surgeon, he became, a public health expert. I even got for him a job through Ministry of Health, and he ended up in West Nile, getting a lot of money. It was not ethical. It was not even technical. Then communication skills, and then client collaboration. Colleagues, this is very key for us to understand. So we ought therefore to understand that the consultancy process is those systematic steps that are followed by a consultant when helping either an individual, organization, institution, or a community to identify problems. And after that, fixing them. And it requires technical expertise, it requires ethical conduct, it requires communication skills, and then client collaboration, meaning you ought to collaborate with the client. You cannot do this alone. You do it after asking the client what he feels. What are you feeling now? I feel headache. What else? Diarrhea. What else? The nasal bleeding. What else? I have lost an appetite. What else? I had to go to the toilet, much as I started diarrheaing yesterday. What else? All my body openings, I sweat so much. Then you begin thinking right now, we are having Ebola in the country. Please take this guy first for a triage and make sure isolate him and we investigate. This could be Ebola. That kind of thing. That's what we're talking about. So colleagues, a consultancy process therefore has got key steps. Number one, making the first entry, call it a contact. Yes, which is entry and initial contact. Colleagues, this is the first stage where the consultant and the client establish contact. Yes, the client may invite the consultant because of a problem, performance gap, policy need, initial challenge, training requirement, or even a development kind of opportunity. Colleagues, this is key for us to understand. Entry is the first stage, and be taking notes because this area is examinable. Now, at this stage, colleagues, the consultant seeks to understand the client's expectations, the nature of the assignment, the background of the organization, and whether the consultant has the required competence to handle the work. I want you to get to understand this. You are getting first contact with this guy, but the client himself also wants to know whether or not you have the key competences to be able to handle the task. Colleagues, this is key and it's very important. Now, you will all realize that the key activities that we require at this initial stage are that you need to introduce the consultancy purpose. Very key. The slides are getting diminished. I don't know where they have gone. So you ought to understand that the activities that you need to know at the entry point is for the consultant to understand the purpose. Yes, very key. Clarifying the client's needs, identifying the key stakeholders, and determining whether the assignment is feasible or not. Colleagues, this is very key, very important. Can you put this on a presentation mode, please? I hope I'm being clear. I don't know whether I'm communicating or not. Can you hear me well?
Yes, Doctor, we can hear you.
Doctor, we can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you. So, that's better. So, we're saying the consultant needs to have specific activities. More so introducing the consultancy purpose, clarifying the client's needs, and identifying the key stakeholders. And above all, determining whether or not the assignment is feasible. So here, you are exploring the potential for working together. This is key. You are identifying who the client is and what motivation there is to bring about change. This is key and very important. So, colleagues, I want you to get this well. Nobody who has not gotten the skills can be able to do this systematic kind of activities. What they normally do is a gamble. Consultants is not about selling tomatoes, no way. Some people sometimes come and they stand, they find me shouting and say, that guy, what's wrong with that guy? They call me a madman. He talks alone and he talks with a screen. When they try normally to open, because I have two locks, there are those rolling doors, then there's another one inside. So when they peep, they see I'm not paying attention to them. Why? Because I have a business to do. And because these guys don't know my work schedule, I'm not here because of a patient. I'm here currently because I have a class, and I run from wherever I am in order to settle down, because I know I'm dealing with a certain class of people who are consultants in the making. This is what we're talking about. So colleagues, it is therefore very important for us to know that the issues of first contact, entry, initial contact is key. It's about exploration and their specific activities. A gamble, I will not do this. So colleagues, after you have sat down with your client and you have seen that there is a potential consultancy to handle together with your client, then you ought now to move to the second step, establishing the relationship. Yes, you can only do, establish this relationship by ensuring that you do a lot, because within this, establishing this relationship, you ought to understand that you specify the desired outcomes, deciding who is going to do what, agreeing on the style, the cost, timing, and accountability. Yes, because when you talk about the second contact being, establishing this kind of relationship and ensuring that you are trying to see what to do, by who, when, where, and how much, then this is key and very, very important. So, colleagues, this also means and includes contracting terms of reference. In one way or the other, it is about that. Because after the initial contact, the consultant and the client agree on the scope of work. This is usually captured in the terms of reference or consultancy kind of contract. Yes? Then the contract should clearly state the objectives of the assignment, expected deliverables, methodology, timelines, roles, and responsibilities. Actually, reporting arrangements and payment terms, confidentiality requirements, and ethical obligations are done here. And colleagues, at this stage, I want us to understand that it is very important because it prevents misunderstandings between the consultant and the client. This is key. Let's go to the third one, problem finding. You could actually call it diagnosis or situational analysis, depending on exactly what kind of consultants we are dealing with here, colleagues. So diagnosing involves collecting information to understand the real problem. Yes, this is the data gathering and data analysis stage, very key. So sometimes the problem presented by the client may only be a symptom of a deeper issue. For example, colleagues, poor staff performance may not only be caused by laziness, but may be linked to weak supervision, poor motivation, lack of training, unclear job description, poor leadership, or even limited resources. Therefore, colleagues, methods used during this diagnosis may include interviews, questionnaires, documentary review, observation, focus group discussion, meetings, analysis of the organization records, and so on and so forth. So colleagues, this is very key and very important. Why are you moving these slides? Until I tell you to move them, you go back. I just want to explain this here. You will understand them better. I just want to explain, unless you feel uncomfortable moving them. So
no, sorry,
we
Doctor
are still
had dropped out. Sorry, my apology.
Okay, please. Okay, put it in a presentation. I don't know whether that's presentation mode. So we're looking at diagnosis. Go to the third one. Diagnosis. Yes, diagnosis. That's okay. So when we talk about diagnosis, we're talking about a problem-solving issue. We want now to find a solution for a problem. Diagnosis is a medical word, meaning you are looking for a problem. Yes. For instance, in dentistry, a diagnosis could be after you have been able to examine the client or your patient. You can say there's a lady who came in after seeing me coming before I removed my suit and told me, "Doctor, you had promised me that you're going to examine me before you go to class. Please, doctor, help me." So I told her it's okay, go to the surgery. And I used a camera, intraoral camera. Yes. Then I put a mouth gag, and in a click of 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes, I was able to diagnose. I told her you have 7 teeth that have decayed. And each tooth that has decayed here will require root canal therapy because you have chronic pulpitis. That is a diagnosis. A diagnosis can also be a name of a problem. And with us in dentistry, diagnosing it, I just put a triangle, then I put a dot in the middle. It means diagnosis. So I collected the data by using an intraoral camera and analyzed, and I realized there was a problem. 7 teeth had decayed. And one that's a first canine, a first central incisor, a second central incisor, then the third was a canine, and many other teeth. And I told her, "Madam, this is a serious problem." And she happens to be a student who is still, at school, S6. Told me, "Doctor, how much could this be?" I told her, "You are too young to take the bill. So please tell your parents when the time is right that you come here." But ideally, I was hesitant to tell her the cost, because she would tell everybody that man is truly expensive, because I don't treat guys from around. I treat only guys in the public service. And these guys know when they are coming to see me, it must be a Saturday, a Sunday, or after 5, because I'm also a public servant. So if I may tell you, the diagnosis I made required treatment, which we are going to look at it in the next, a level. That is level 4. Don't ask me how much money I would have charged this lady if it were you. I needed 7 million from her from only replacing crowns. 7 million shillings. Each tooth, 1 million. A root canal therapy, 300. 300 times 7, that is 2.1 million. When you add 2.1 plus the 7 million, that is 9.1 million. So please, don't call me an expensive man, but that's how I earn. Thank you. So what are we talking about? Diagnosis. Did I diagnose her? Yes. Did I give her a bill? No. Why? Because she's incapable. So sometimes when we do the diagnosis and realize that the terms of reference cannot be met, I do not go to the fourth level. That's the solution finding. Why? Because you have not paid me for that. Colleagues, I want us to understand this and get it very well. That the stage of diagnosis, which we call problem definition and data analysis, help the consultant move from the general complaints to a clearly defined problem, which we call a diagnosis. The consultant should use evidence rather than assumptions. Did I get an evidence from this lady? Yes. What did I see? Decayed teeth. What helped me to do that? I use an intraoral camera. Did I go ahead to do an x-ray? No. Why? I required money from her. Did she have the capacity to pay? No. Why? The lady is a food vendor. She's looking for money to go back to school. Already our children have gone to school. She's still around looking for tuition, which is less than $1 million. Now, can she afford 1 million to treat a tooth? Actually, 1.3 without x-ray? No. How much fees is that? She will basically take a long time to collect this money. So, colleagues, it's therefore very important for us to understand that the stage of data analysis and problem definition is key. But what is important for us to know is that we collect the data, and after collecting data, then we need now to look for what we call the output. That may include the diagnosis report, problem statement, gap analysis, stakeholder analysis, SWOT analysis, risk analysis, and needs assessment report. Colleagues, I don't know whether I'm communicating. If I'm not, let me know. I beg stop here and let me know if I've communicated. I hope I've not been talking to myself.
No, we are
No,
following.
doctor, you're communicating.
We are following. You have communicated and we have understood.
I needed that response.
We are also scared. Now, what will the hoi polloi, we call them the hoi polloi, our colleagues who are hustling out there, because now just dental treatment appears to be extremely expensive.
Thank you. I expected you to mention that. The most expensive treatment that you'll ever think about on this planet Earth is dental treatment. I don't treat the hustlers. I treat you, the consultants. I expected that to come out. First of all, I want you to know, and I'm defining what consultancy means. If I'm a consultant, my specific services are for consultancy. If you came here and you are running and you are telling me that the tooth is paining, I would call my wife in the energy center. I have a dentist. This is Kasoka. This place is Kasoka Medical and Dental Globe. It is specifically for patients who have made an appointment with me. It's for on appointment. So when you want your tooth to be extracted, there is Kisenyi Health Center 4. I know the dentist there. I'll call him and tell him, excuse me, hey, my brother, there's a client here. I've given him paracetamol. Handle him. And they know I don't extract teeth here. Because even at a root level, I will do a root canal therapy on a root and put a post and build on it. And I'll charge you 12 million shillings. That's called an implant. Don't get more scared because I told you little money. I don't know whether you are going to get scared still because I sometimes get appointments from the US. Somebody comes from the US to come and see me here. This is the essence of consultancy. So colleagues, it doesn't mean that I don't treat people around. I treat them by giving them another advice. Guys come here crying, they want me to extract their teeth and I tell them, excuse me, and that's an abuse to me. For some of you understand Uganda, don't call me Mkuzuwani. The moment you mention that, you have insulted me. I don't know whether you're getting me.
We are getting
the moment,
doctor.
The moment that comes, and that I'm a Mkuzuwani, I will tell you, excuse me, that's an insult to me. I'll call a dentist who is actually a Mkuzuwani, Health Center 4, and you go there and they remove your tooth and throw it in the dustbin. After 1 month, you'll come to me and ask me to replace the tools, and I'll tell you that's a 3-point bridge. Each is $1 million, $1 million, $1 million. You remove the tools for free in health center 4, I'm going to charge you 3 million shillings to put what I would call a 3-point bridge. So colleagues, this is the essence of consultancy. I don't know whether I should continue, but I wanted us to understand consultancy is very important. And unfortunately, sometimes we actually don't know what it means to be a consultant. Having said that, colleagues, if you can allow me, I wanted to proceed. Can I proceed?
Yes, doctor. Go ahead, please proceed.
Thank you so much. We're now looking at the issues of solution finding. I examined this lady. After diagnosis, I collected data, I made the analysis, and I told her, Madam, who is going to take this bill? He told me, Doctor, first tell me how much is it if I can just work on this one. I told her, Madam, go and sell the food. I have a class. When the class president was actually calling me, I was still fidgeting to get the link, and I failed, and my laptop went off. I told her to go and sell the food because I know she's being paid 5,000 shillings per day after selling the food. Therefore, I could not actually tell her how much I charge. Even when people tell them around that don't go to that place, that man who shouts alone, you only see the number plates that go there, the only red number plates. And to be very specific, senior police officers come here, the directors. Guys in the UPDF, guys from prisons, teachers, but of course you should be a scientist. And you, colleagues whom I'm teaching. But don't get scared. You'll come here and I do the diagnosis for free. And I'll tell you it's okay, you're my student. I have actually examined you. You can go to the next dentist. Thank you. So colleagues, having done what I would call the data analysis and problem definition, you can call it diagnosis. What are we going to do? Why have you moved to this slide? You go back. I'm not going to come back to those. I want these red ones. I'm almost finishing. Solution finding is what I'm talking about. Those other ones, you are going to read them for your exam. Solution finding, colleagues, is about feedback to the client. You want to give the client a feedback. And we're saying at this stage, the client is given assistance in specifying what it is he wants and when he wants it. Did I give this lady feedback? Yes. What did I tell her? Go and concentrate with your business. Go back to school. You know, I wanted to begin collecting money because I'm in S6. When I complete, I wanted to come and get to understand. I said, now, S6, you are very far. By the time when they read the budget, even on 1st July, now next month, we are now entering into another what? Financial year. My course will have changed. Yes, because most of my materials, I import them and I buy them myself. Why? Because I also realize some of the materials here are fake. I don't use them. Yesterday, I was treating a senior police officer and wanted to know how much a permanent filling is. And I was telling him, I don't know how much you have. You can pay me what you have. Because if I told you how much I charge here, a permanent tooth, you have 7 of them. And I've already made 4. I don't know how much money you'll have. He came driving and he thought you would actually, the money he had would be enough. He had 200,000. I told him, it's okay, give me what you have. Why? Because actually, the minimum I charge for a permanent filling is 150,000. So I expected him to pay me 400,000 for the 4 teeth, repaired. But the guy had 200,000, and I saw him putting back a 20,000 shilling note in his pocket. I said, now that is not even enough for this man's fee. Maybe he has no fuel, that kind of thing. And I saw from the cameras, he was struggling with the guys in the parking. So I told him, my brother, you can keep this. Maybe next time when you come, you will be able to pay. This is not adequate. Told me, doctor, what do you mean? I told him, no, what I'm trying to say, I have helped you for today. But the other remaining teeth, you will come and pay at least 2 times more than what you have paid for the teeth that I have treated. So like somebody said, getting scared, said, oh, doctor, I've been told this place is only for the directors. I told him, yes, I used also to treat IGP here before I became IGP. Then he told me how I should have known. And the man is a corporal. A corporal is the second last rank in the police and also in the army. But he was driving and he used to know me. We used to be together. But he's a lawyer and advocate, and he's also teaching law in various institutions. But he's being paid a little money, I think 40,000 per hour, because he teaches undergraduates. And with me, when I'm teaching in those other institutions, I'm paid 100,000 per hour. So don't ask me how much Utam pays me to teach you, because I will not tell you. Thank you. Colleagues, feedback to the client is very key and very important. Why am I saying this? Somebody requires to know. You have diagnosed, yes. You are telling me there's a problem, yes. Tell me what the solution is. Here, you are going to sit down and tell this person this is the solution. You have a chronic pulpitis. We are going to do a root canal therapy. This is what it takes to do a root canal therapy. Colleagues, root canal therapy is the killing of the blood and the nerve supply to the specific tooth. And I used to charge a root canal therapy according to the number of roots I will find out. If there are 4, I will charge you 100,000 per root, per visit. So ideally, at the end of the day, you end up paying a lot of money, maybe $1 million shillings each tooth, root canal therapy. But because I'm in a place where the hassle, as somebody mentioned, I tell them, give me 300,000 generally per tooth. And that 300,000 will be after 3 visits. So colleagues, I'm using my profession to explain this. So feedback is very important. So after having this solution, what we are calling solution finding, which is basically the purpose is feedback to confirm. Hello? Was somebody saying something, or I can finish? Because I'm almost finishing. I just wanted to explain these specific ones. The rest you'll read. So the purpose of feedback to the client or solution finding is basically for us to confirm whether the consultant's understanding of the problem is connected, and it can allow the client to respond to the findings. Normally, good feedback should be honest, respectful, evidence-based, and solution-oriented. Was I honest to this lady? Yes. What did I tell her? She may not be able to afford the treatment. Respectful in a manner that I told her, you might have to consult maybe your parents, and maybe when you're done with your education, since you don't have the pain, no worries, you can continue with some painkillers, but don't remove any tooth, because if you did, your bills, wherever you go, will increase. And there should be a solution to whatever problem, should be solution oriented. Colleague, this key, very important. Did I help this lady? Yes. Up to now, even I have the video still there. I asked her, do you have a smartphone? She said, not at all. Said, I wanted you to save these pictures and go with them, so that you can show your sponsors. Otherwise, I will not be able to tell you how much it costs to have 70s repaired. So colleagues, this is very, very okay. Now, let's go to planning, work, or working the plan. Planning the work or working the plan. You can call it action planning, colleagues. At this stage, call it a step. The work is planned in terms of who will do what, when, where, how, with what resources. Colleagues, their plan is then carried out. I will repeat, planning the work, working the plan is basically what I would call action planning. And the stage basically requires that the consultant and the client agree on the best courses of action. The action plan explains what should be done, who should do it, when it should be done, what resources are needed, and how progress will be measured. Colleagues, the action plan may include training, policy development, restructuring, strategic planning, systems improvement, monitoring and evaluation frameworks, leadership development, or operational reforms. Colleagues, let's come back to my area of expertise, dentistry. In dentistry, when you are working the plan, you tell the patient that yes, we ought to do A, B, C, D. And I have realized you have got chronic pulpitis. Chronic pulpitis is basically meaning that the pulp of the tooth is dead. Therefore, we ought to extract it and make sure the tooth remains, but we kill the tooth, but remains functional, meaning you'll have a functional tooth, but dead. Functional, but dead. Meaning you have a tooth which is functioning, but dead. That's what we're talking about. So colleagues, this is very, very important. So you tell the person, what we're doing is, 1, I'm going to prescribe you antibiotics. 2, I'm going to ensure that I'm going to give you painkillers. 3, I will also give you muscle relaxant. 4, we could also do an X-ray. 5, this tooth requires root canal therapy. 6, you require this amount of money. But most importantly, this is the total cost that you need for us to start implementing the plan. Colleagues, this is what we call planning the work or working the plan, because the plan is then carried out. And you say, this is what we have to do. If the person says, yes, I have the money, doctor, what are you waiting for? I want the best materials ever. Do the job. Then I will begin putting on my equipment, laying them together, and I begin the work. Yes, so long as we have actually been able to understand each other. Yes, so this will even mean implementing that plan, by the way. This is what is normally done. So colleagues, within that, you implement the plan. You can even go ahead to monitor and evaluate. You even do the reporting and document. And we are normally told that a good consultant can normally do a lot in as far as, a reporting is concerned. Professionally, you have to do that. And then, of course, you ought to do what it takes. But let's look at the final stage. Colleagues, we call it evaluation and termination. Evaluation and termination could also be called closure and exit. Colleagues, the client and the consultant look back over the project and their relationship at this step. The consultant then withdraws and terminates the consulting relationship. Colleagues, closure marks the formal end of the consultant's assignment. The consultant hands over the final deliverables. He receives feedback from the client. He settles what we call the contractual issues and exits professionally. And we're being told that a good consultant will have a good exit. We should leave the consultant, I mean the client, with the capacity to continue implementing the recommendations without over-dependency on the consultant. This is very key and very important. So, a professional consultancy process should be client-centered, evidence-based, should be ethical, confidential, participatory, time-bound, results-oriented, and practical. The consultant should not impose solutions, but should work with the client to develop solutions that are realistic and sustainable. Colleagues, I want to conclude that the consultancy process is structured professional engagement, call it assignment, which is aimed at helping clients solve problems, improve performance, and achieve institutional goals. Its success normally depends on clear contracting, accurate diagnosis, evidence-based analysis, practical recommendations, as well as effective implementation and proper evaluation. Therefore, colleagues, a consultant adds value, not merely by giving advice, no, but by helping the client understand the problem, own the solution, and also sustain improvement. This is what I wanted us to discuss, and I believe, unless there are any issues, I must end by saying consultancy is not about giving answers alone. No. It's about guiding clients to understand their challenges and building the lasting solution. Did I guide this young lady well? Yes, I think so. Was she satisfied? Yes, I think so. Will she come back? Probably not. What could be the impeding factor? Maybe finances. Because, like somebody put it, a hustler is not welcome here, but it's welcome somewhere. I have Kasoka Medical Center, and I have a dentist there. Extraction is as low as 15,000, 20,000. Yesterday, one of my workers had a tooth problem, and he thought he could come to where I was. I told him, excuse me, today is a public holiday, allow me rest, but go to the nearest clinic. And he went to Kikandwa. Kikandwa, we have one of our training schools there, and I called the in charge there, and he told me tooth extraction is 30,000. So I told him, you go, they will remove the tooth, but I will deduct it from your allowance. Thank you. Colleagues, unless you have issues with me, I think I don't have issues with anybody. Thank you so much. God bless you. Q&A time now.
God bless you, Doctor.
Thank you. You'll continue reading the rest. I was explaining this, but you'll have better slides that explain most of the things. But I just wanted us to stop here because I normally have issues with the students who just want to read the slides. Go ahead and read about the consultancy process. There are what I would call, you can unshare this. You can unshare this. There's what we call unshare. There's what we call, what do we call it? I think I have issues with my camera. I wanted that gentleman who has just come today to see my face. I know he's going to get scared because I charge people a lot of money. But
Doctor, I can see you. I can see you. That's very good.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I've been listening very attentively.
Thank you.
In pensive mode, but also scared. But if you allow me, I will just do a quick reflection And
Yes.
Dr. Tukey, thank you so much indeed for the clarification, especially on the first topic we're looking at, on the consultancy and who qualifies to be a consultant. It made me think a lot, and in my view, a consultant should not only possess knowledge, but should also demonstrate practical application, innovation, and measures and measurable impact within the field of practice. But this is an important policy and professional question. We may need at national level to establish a regulatory and accreditation framework for both individual consultants, but also consultancy firms. In many professions, such as medicine, like in your profession, law, accreditation and professional recognition are essential before one can practice at the highest level. For example, I was told by colleagues that even if you are a lawyer, you may not be able to practice in the Supreme Court. You may need to get some level of certification and recognition. However, in the consultancy space, it appears that anyone who has got a master's degree, as we were saying earlier, can just go open a consultancy firm and immediately assume titles such as senior consultant, principal consultant, without standardized professional assessment framework. In some cases, of course, this risks diluting the credibility of the professional integrity of the consultancy practice. Therefore, I think, would you support the establishment of a national professional regulatory body that can accredit and indeed grade people? I know that I think in law, to be called a senior counsel, you must have done a few things. I don't know those things. Also, competencies, ethics, and things around that. You also talked about, you shared your personal experience. I agree with you. Where I work, we hire lots of consultants, and consultancy is a rewarding profession. We hire consultants who come and we pay them 50,000, 55,000 for just a week's work. So that talks about the quality. If you are good, you can earn so much. So whereas I'm scared, but when you are at that highest level, then even the degree of reward is also high. Doctor, those are my few reflections, and I submit to you, Andy.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Let me be honest with you. Consultancy, whether at individual or at organization level, firm level, you remain a consultant. Accreditation, yes. You have talked about say my field, the medical profession. You cannot call yourself a health professional when you don't subscribe to one of the above councils that I'm going to mention. 1, Allied Health Professional Council. 2, Medical and Dental Practitioners Council. 3, Nurses and Midwifery Councils. 4, the Pharmacy Council. That alone, if you want to know whether somebody is a professional or not, you can actually go and verify from those registers whether or not this person is a professional. Personally, I sit in Ministry of Health as the chairperson of the dentistry board.
Yes, doctor.
Yesterday, when this guy was telling me that he was extracting a tooth of one of my workers, he started with 50,000. I told him that's so high. You are in Kikandwa, that's a village. And most of the patients you are getting, you get them from the police. And I actually told him I'm a policeman. And the person who was actually told me that you have a clinic there is the in charge of Kikandwa and Kakire. And there is a workshop there. I would have told this patient to come to Kibuli, where we have a dental clinic, or even Nagoro. But because you are nearby there, I want to know whether you are actually qualified. That's the first question I asked him. Then he said, I'm a worker. Then I said, excuse me, tell me, where did you qualify from? In most cases, by the way, people are scared about me. I don't know whether the tone I use makes them scared, I don't know. So I started interrogating this guy. I didn't care whether he would actually treat my work or not, but I wanted to know whether this guy actually had a skill to have a tooth of my worker removed. He started, you said, excuse me, what's the name of the clinic? When he told me the name of the clinic, I went to Mr. Google and I got to know the owner of the clinic, and I called him. I told him, excuse me, the guy in the clinic is not qualified, and I've sent a patient there. I'm afraid I might call you to come to the ministry to explain why you are employing quacks. The guy got scared. So he called somebody, then said, who is this? Then said, oh, that's Dr. Tukey. So, oh, that guy is tough. He's a policeman. I even close clinics. And sometimes the ministry officials get scared. When they get scared, they say, but now we have got a chairperson board. This guy is a policeman and he fears no one. I don't care who owns the clinic. We normally drive there. If I don't drive, like right now, we're busy here, I can call the nearest police station and tell them support. These are guys from the ministry. They are going as a joint team. They don't have the police there. Please help them. What am I trying to say? A person who's a consultant must subscribe to a certain specific body. You must belong to the coded body. It's unfortunate that the consultants that we're talking about is management consultancy. It's not a coded body, but it's also now, it's becoming a recruitive kind of business that people are looking at. So all consultancy firms must actually be registered, must be certified, and they should belong to a certain specific body which will regulate them, which will make sure that ethical standards are actually adhered to. Yes, sometimes KCCA comes here. People begin closing their places and running away. Then they say, let's see what they are going to do to that guy. Now, the guy they're talking about is me. Then when I see these guys coming, sometimes I'm teaching. I tell them, excuse me, I'm in class. And I will be showing them a large screen. I have a large screen here. I will be telling them I'm teaching because I don't want the nonsense they are bringing. Because KCCA does not regulate me. Minister of Health does. So sometimes I show them the license because I don't want them to interfere with my class. And in most cases, when this guy is close, they run away. Then sometimes I pause, then I tell them, excuse me, class, let me address this guy. I bring certificates and throw them there and tell them I'm in class. Examine those, but you are not the body that examines me. Because they want to examine me, they want 100,000 or 500,000, whatever. Tell them I cannot pay taxes twice. Then they say, this is a license, a trading license. I tell them, no, mine is a service, not a business. It's a service. Therefore, go away. And sometimes when they insist, I call the ministry. I say, there is this guy here. Tell them, talk to them. Then they talk, said, oh, where did you go to? That went to such a place. I leave that place, you might get arrested. Why? I'm confident because I know I belong to a certain profession. Yes, and then they say, but now we are not seeing, because now this place, they have arranged this place. It is like actually a library. You'll not even know. You can actually see something behind there. So this is because I teach from here. So they begin looking for a clinic, they don't see it. Then I tell them, excuse me, I'm in class. Then eventually they begin saying, who is this man? We see the man is dressed in scrubs, but says teaching. Then I tell them to go to the next room. The next room is a surgery. So what are we saying? You can't call yourself a consultant, whether individual or you belong to a certain group, when you do not subscribe to a certain body, whether coded or not. Why? Because we want to know that the person who's providing service is qualified. You must be registered because we want to isolate you and have you differentiated from a quack, from a gambler, a tomato seller. This guy I was telling you about, a medical doctor, the guy, even when they went to verify his papers, he was registered with the Medical and Dental Practitioners Council. But when this guy was arrested, the wife calls me. The wife is actually a registered midwife. Told me, doctor, your friend is arrested. Say, where? And say, it's in Wandegea. I said, right now I'm not around. By that time, Mutam had not renewed my contract. I was acting principal, College of Economics and Management in KIU for 6 months. Then they said, well, where do we come? I said, came to KIU. Said, we sought you in Utamu. I said, no, my contract is actually done with Utamu. So come to KIU. When they came to KIU, I had about 5 deans. So the secretary is there. You will actually go through 2 receptionists before you reach me. And I said, now I've seen that gentleman, let him come. Then now it starts telling me, my brother-in-law has been arrested. Say, who? Dr. So-and-so. Where is he? Is he actually in Wandegea? Going there, I went through the lockup. I'm a serving police officer.
Yes, doctor.
The guy's name was not there in the lockup. I asked the OC station. They told me, we have not arrested anybody by those names. Said, okay, can I go to the cell? Going to the cell, I see the guy there. Said, excuse me, that's the guy I want. Then they tell me, doctor, that guy, his name is called so-and-so. I said, but why? Tell me, okay, release him for me. I sat down with this guy. The wife was there. Then the IO is the investigating officer was there. I told them, give me time with this guy. What is your name? I asked him, tell me your name. For me to be your lawyer now, tell me your name. The guy started panicking. I told him, relax, I've been with you for the number of years. You have 3 master's degrees through my mentorship. I have taught you, even in Utam, by the way, the student, I have his book here. I told those people I've not cleared the student because he was arrested 2 weeks to graduation. I told them, no, this one will not graduate. Why? He opened and became honest with me and told me, doctor, that's not my name. I said, how did you get this degree? He told me it's a long story. I told him, make it short. I got to know. Made the story short. I got to know. Even the name that he was claiming he was, it was also forged papers. So colleagues, what am I saying? You can now imagine a man who was a consultant I got for a job in West Nile, was earning a lot of money. I became very embarrassed. Very embarrassed.
Obviously.
That you get somebody a job that was supposed to be given to me. Then they told me, doctor. I told them, no, I'm a serving police officer. I cannot have 2 salaries in the same government. I cannot. I'm recommending you so and so. The guy had a master's degree in public health. The guy had a master's degree in business administration. The guy had another master's degree. He was now getting another one in M&E. And he was a consultant being hired in Zambia and in the US. Why? Because when these people also tried to verify his names, they were there in the Ministry of Health. The man had been registered, but he was smart. And the reason why he actually lived to that extent was that the owner of the papers had not registered. So he only established when he went to register and found that there was another quality to K. Say how? Everything. What this man only did was to get his picture and he put it there. You guys who are from Uganda, you must have followed that story.
Yes.
So colleagues, the issues you are raising are very important. But I will insist for you to call yourself a professional, for you to call yourself a consultant, you should belong somewhere. You should belong somewhere. If you say you are an M&E expert, register with M&E. Even in Uganda, we have, you can, even the student one, you can register with them. Yes. And very soon, you know, from the time I'm not holding any responsibility in Utamu, but when I was a dean, graduate school, then later on I became a head of department, that kind of thing. We used to have this, you know, call students and would have, you know, these associations. When you belong to an association, you are good to go. So having this paper here, you get your master's, your PhD, is not enough. Make sure you register with a specific body for you to be recognized, such that when they go and check your name, you belong there. You belong there. Because right now, me, I cannot tell you, you know, where I belong. I belong to many organizations, very many. First of all, I belong to 3 ministries. I belong to Ministry of Education and Sport because I can actually respectively tell you that I'm a senior lecturer in the Universal Technology and Management University. And I do external examination of PhD and master students in various universities, including public universities. Yes, but I also belong to Ministry of Internal Affairs. And I saw somebody has been, an academician has been, you know, I've been meeting this gentleman, a professor from Victoria University. He's now going to be my boss. He's a state minister of internal affairs. Muganga, Lawrence Muganga.
Muganga.
Yes. Muganga, yes. I called him and congratulated him. I told him, Professor, thank you. Now I'm seeing a professor. Now there are 2 professors who are my bosses there. Professor Ephraim Kamuntu is the Minister of Internal Affairs. Then the State Minister is another Professor, Lawrence.
Yes.
So those are the 2 ministries. I go now to the 3rd ministry. That is now Minister of Health. Actually, I can tell you with a lot of authority that I've been in the dental board for several years. And I've been able to pass out dentists, so many of them, over 400, and being able to, you know, help them in their dissertations and so forth, 270. So I belong to those fraternities. So when they ask you, where do you belong? I'll tell you, I belong somewhere. So the question here is, do you belong somewhere after this? Or even already you are belonging somewhere? So these are issues we ought to understand. That is what professionalism is all about. Belong somewhere. Have a subscription fee that you're able to pay for you to belong somewhere. I belong to a certain professional body. We call it APID. APID is, you know, APID, that is APID professional. It is, they call it APID. What is APID? That is Professional Initiative for Development. That is the TESO Professional Initiative for Development. I don't know what A is standing for. I've forgotten, but I think I'll remember that. Akurut, you are here. You have heard about that. APID. I saw somebody called Akurut here. Has she left?
Doctor, I'm here, but it's the first time I'm hearing it.
Now, we have all professionals from Teso sub-region. No matter what profession you have, but the subscription fee is 500,000. For you to belong there, you must pay 500,000 per year. I bought 3 slots, and because of that, I managed to start an apiary. Apiary is a home of bees, and currently I have 1,000 beehives. Because of APID, they wanted us to show what you have, and it should be practical. Should be practical. So they decided that every professional should come and you should start something. I wanted to raise a health facility, but when I saw the Right Honorable Speaker, former AAA, putting up a teaching hospital, I said I will not compete with her. Let me start something new. So I had to transform my health facility into an apiary, but it has a residential aspect, a training aspect, because I wanted to start something new, which nobody is doing in Teso. So this we did because we were registered with a professional body, which is called APID. We're also going to start a bank, but unfortunately, the person who was chairing it has died. That was the former ED of that is environmental. What is that? Environmental something?
NEMA.
What body is that? The little Kurut. NEMA. That gentleman died. If you know Dr. Kurut was the one spearheading that. You know, yeah, there is a lot we need to look at. I really like the submission. If you're a professional, don't sit down there. Don't sit on your talent. So people were asking me, why have you ended up with an apiary? I'm calling it KBC. That is Kasoka B Center. So what people do not know, somebody's mic is open. I don't know whether you are getting bored. I was explaining something. Is there questions? Okay, let me first stop here. Is there any other question?
Yes, Doctor, thank you very much for the presentation and also the highlights and the stories. My question is, when are we going to have a group presentation?
When do you want to have them? Madam President, can you answer that question? Okay. Since the Madam President is not here, I know she breastfeeds. Maybe she has gone to check on the young one. I normally do group presentations after the end of all our units. We're just on unit 3. Next time we're meeting on unit 4. This module has, I think, 7-8 units. Immediately we finish is when we shall have group presentations. There's no way you can begin presenting when I've not covered. In all my modules, that's what I do. So if you're itching to present, you can always present or make your own discussions during your free time. The group presentation is part of the examination. The National Council for Higher Education is promoting what they call the CBE. That is the continuous or competence-based education, where you should be discussing in order to allow you develop the skill of communication and practical kind of presentations. So I normally have standby marks for students who struggle. I give a group marks. I will mark it out of 15. It's quite unfortunate right now the UTAM has not yet adapted the CBE. So what happens? There is a week when they are going to say week 1 or week 2, you are going to have assessment. The moment you hear their tests, then you know you are supposed to begin discussing in that week. Then when they say test 2, I'll give you the actual test online. So for now, let's finish. I don't want to call it a syllabus, the module. Then I will call upon the class president to present the groups. I will be just there to listen to you presenting. But I want to caution you. It is from the group presentations that I set the exams. So after the groups are presented, make sure you have the presentation of all your colleagues. If you don't have them, you will regret when it comes to writing exams. Thank you.
Yeah, Doctor, thank you very much for the answers. But of course, I was asking the question in regards to the submission deadline, which is due to, it is actually on 31st of May. So are you going to extend it?
No. Submission is different from presentation. When you submit your work as groups, you go back and begin reading. The moment you submit after that time, I mark that. This is about consultancy. Keep time, maintain the time. What kind of consultant will you be? I'm telling you, work starts today, then you want to start tomorrow. So submission remains, keep the deadlines. Somebody submitted his work via email, but it's for research methods, not you guys here. And I responded that please submit your work through the right platform. I don't mark anything that comes through my mail, no. So the question is right, and it's seeking clarification. So make sure that you submit. The group leader submits, then the final work, after I've marked you, each person within the group submits, because I will mark it. Then probably, before I forget, there are still colleagues here in this class who are still claiming that they do not have results for strategic management. I copied your class president on this. If you are here, I hope you are given your marks. Most of you think the marks that are missing are from strategic human resource management. No. Most of you instead registered for project human resource management. Project human resource management. So when you don't get your marks on the strategic human resource management, go to project human resource management. There are still colleagues complaining. I don't know whether this is clear.
Yes, Doctor, I think that is clear. I have some question in relation to the submission date and the mode of submission. Yeah. As the group, you stated that the marking of the group work and then the submission. Maybe it's not, I didn't get it clear a bit. I want to understand. The deadline is on Sunday, 31st.
Yeah.
And when we complete our group work, both the PowerPoint and Microsoft Word document, we are supposed to submit. And this is a group work, and then we are members of the group. So in our own discussion, we thought of also after the final copy, we all submit individually, but you say the group. I'm just wondering, is a little not clear for me, because we thought after we have done
I can clarify.
Yes.
I can clarify. This work, the work that you are going to submit on Sunday, 31st, a group leader submits on the behalf of the group. Is that clear?
Yes, Doctor, it's clear now. Thank you.
After presentation, I will give you feedback. The feedback I give you, you are supposed to make amend of what you did not do right. Then you make final copies. And now I'll give you the deadline to submit the final copy of your work individually.
Thank you. Very clear. Very clear. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. If there are no more questions,
Yes, Doctor.
there is okay.
Yeah, it's I wanted to request for a hand of partnership with you.
You're welcome.
Yes, we shall be coming to treat ourselves at your facility, but we also wanted you give us some construction work, because we deal with construction as well. We are also wise men from the East.
That is great. What kind of company do you have? Construction?
Yeah, it's a construction company.
Well, I will not promise you now, because I had a project which is ongoing and the contract was already awarded. And the one in Kampala is also ongoing. The contract is already awarded. So I can connect you to colleagues for now. Because
can I contact you on your WhatsApp?
Later on, no worries. Outside the class, yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah. Okay. 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 Thank you, colleagues.
Maybe
if there are no further questions, allow me to have a cup of tea. I've not taken lunch. I didn't take breakfast. I was coordinating a CME, and all I had was a cup of water.
Doctor, last one.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm the only one, but I don't know why. Every time you speak about those prices, my teeth start paining.
That means you needed a consultant. You needed to meet a specialist.
When you come here, I normally have students who come, the ones I supervise. This place is both a surgery, but I call it a personal library. The way I've arranged it, maybe when you come here is when you'll appreciate. The moment you reach here, your teeth will stop paining, even when you have a toothache. You come and I do free consultancy. I will examine you for free. And when it comes to treatment, I will take you as a colleague. I will treat you on a 50% discount. Don't worry. Is that okay?
I'm coming.
Thank you. Okay, our colleagues, I think let's call it an evening. Share these slides on your group because I only have one kind of slides you people will use, but explore more and read more. Thank you so much for the engagement. God bless you. See you.
God bless.
Over the.
Thank you.
Thank
you
so
much,
Doctor.
Yes.
Good night.
As Doctor is catching a cup of tea, there are people asking me about the Uganda Evaluation Association. You can find my inbox. We have actually two groups. We have the Young Emerging Evaluators. That stands for the evaluators 35 and below. And then we have the Uganda Evaluations Association. Feel free to contact me and I give you a guide on how to join. Thank you.
An international
so much.
Evaluators Association is there.
We also have a Freya, we have Eval Indignus, we have a lot of evaluation associations.
So many. I'm also a member.
Rachel, how about our colleagues from South Sudan and others who...
We also have South Sudanese, by the way, in Yei. I remember when we were having the PGD, they joined the Young Emerging Evaluators, so we accommodate a lot of people. When you look at Afreya accommodates all Africans, so feel free to join.
Updates on Ebola.
An international male experts
update
group.
Give us updates on Ebola.
Oh, you are asking me?
Yes. Any restrictions? I heard.
Yeah.
I heard Kenya is now becoming a quarantine center.
All that is still
I
on
think
paper. It hasn't yet been implemented. There are a lot of high-level agreements that are being done between the East African community and the American government. So they haven't yet moved patients, neither the contacts to Kenya. But as for now, in Uganda, we are having 7 cases, of which 3 are local cases and the other 4 were imported cases. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much, Joan, for that update. Joan, we have a new minister. Are you aware?
Yeah, Chris Bariomusi is our new minister for health.
Yes, he's our new minister.
Yeah.
Very well. Thank you so much, colleagues. I think we can stop here and allow me catch up with a cup of tea. Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank
for
you.
leaving the call.
Thank you.